I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do. I've lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. And with your admission that you feel the same, I'll have reached the goal I'm dreaming of. Believe.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday night. Welcome to another edition of the Table Spot. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the Alpha Wolf, Sean himself, and the man with the best beard in the business, Mr. Cam G. Gentlemen, happy 1 year anniversary to the Table Spot. How you guys doing tonight?
Let's go. Man, I'm all right, man. You know, it was once again a pretty chillaxed Monday night, you know what I'm saying? So got some gaming in today, you know what I'm saying? Got my workout in today, of course, you know. So and I watched watch Monday Night Raw. So now I'm here for the 1 year anniversary. Hype for that. So let's go.
Hell yeah, we got Malik in the chat. We got Mikey P in the chat. How you guys doing tonight?
Welcome,
Thank
guys.
you for joining us. Sean, how you doing on this fine Monday night?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back. I was obviously sick as a dog and other personal issues, but I'm happy to be here on the 1 year anniversary of the Table Spot. And also, I want to send out a very, very, very happy birthday, late happy birthday, to one of my best friends ever in the wrestling business, Thunder Rosa. Mel, I love you. And hope you had a great birthday.
Happy birthday, Thunder Rosa. Well, guys, you know we always start off the show by kicking things off talking about Raw, but we're not doing that tonight. That's not happening. See, I had something saved for when the clock strikes 12 on the Eastern Standard Time, okay? But tonight, I can't wait. I have to reveal this, okay? It needs to happen. We need to do it now because honestly, I'm just kind of impatient. I'm excited about this. I'm excited to show the people because, as y'all know, we have intros at the beginning of shows. The intro that you've seen us come in with, it's the last time. Because, guys, we got a new intro. So let's reveal it now. The Table Spot's new intro video before we get into Monday Night Raw. Is the premiere of the new Table Spot intro. And as I always say, before we get started, make sure to head over to Rivet City Radio and Off the Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, turn your notification on Check out all the great content going on throughout the network, like the Table Spot, NXT on Tap on Tuesday nights, The Boom hosted by Cam on Wednesday nights. We got Boss Bitch Trivia. We got Friday Night Review on Fridays. We got Rivet City Red Zone on Sunday mornings. We got Botch Botch and Chair Shots on Sunday nights. We have a whole list of shows that go on throughout the network, so make sure to check everything out going on. Plus, patreon.com/Rivet City Radio. Check out all the great content going on over on the Patreon. I promise it will not break your bank. Now I can start my scrolls. I wanted to keep the screen a little clear tonight, and now we can get through the scrolls and get through the chat. Thank you. Appreciate everybody's happy anniversary to us. This is an exciting milestone. It is, because the Table Spot guys, 1 year. Like, it's crazy to think 1 full year. And we've had a lot of great memories on this show, and there's going to be so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts tonight. So, gentlemen, let's get into it. Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, happening in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Title Town, as they like to call it, because of the success of their beloved Packers. World champions a few times. I believe they won the world championship like 4 times. But they call themselves Title Town, just like the Cowboys call themselves America's team, and, you know, all that happy stuff. But Monday Night Raw happening in Green Bay, Wisconsin tonight. And as we start off the Raw talk, I always ask you guys, what would you give Raw as a full grade? What would you give it? So, Cam, the floor is yours to go first. What would you give Raw tonight?
So I don't fully believe that this show deserves this grade necessarily. I think there's a lot of filler, within this show, but there are 4 specific things that I think really carried this program. And so for me, I'm gonna say it was an A. It was a solid A, I think, just because of these 4 things that we'll get into. I don't want to say them just quite yet, but these particular 4 things that really, like I said, carried the program tonight. So I'm gonna give it an A.
Okay. Sounds good. Sean, what would you give it?
Well, I don't know what his 4 things are, but I'm going to start off saying that Raw was actually really good today. And I am going to give it an A.
That's shocking.
And not...
Hold on. Say that one more time.
I am going to give Raw an A.
You gave Raw. Cam, he gave Raw an A.
That's shocking.
Oh my God.
That's shocking.
And one of the main reasons, it's not going to be just the sole reason, but the main reason is because Liv Morgan turned my whole brain into mush tonight.
Hey, that's fair.
Look, I'm a
That's
simple
fair.
man, all right? I'm a simple man.
I
All
am
right?
too.
Oh boy. Let's just get into Raw, okay?
Yeah, I mean, you guys both give it an A tonight. I'm kind of different. Like, I would have to give Raw maybe, if anything, a B-. Like,
No, that's
I
not.
liked Monday Night Raw tonight. It was a good show. There was, as Cam said, some filler stuff. There was. But the stuff that mattered really, like, it helped a lot of those storylines move forward. It's almost like the past couple weeks, and if you guys disagree with me, by all means, as you guys know, I have nothing against you guys disagreeing with me. But it feels like the past couple weeks with some of these storylines, it's kind of been stagnant. It's kind of been on a standstill. Like they haven't been going anywhere. And tonight, it was almost like it gave, a little swift kick in the backside of saying, hey, we got to move this thing forward. We're 11 days away from SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Will, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you being here. Love you. Malik gave Raw a 7 out of 10. I mean, that's pretty much an A-, if anything. So, I mean, Raw was not a bad show, but let's get into it, guys. As Sean brought up the Liv Morgan situation. About to go to sleep soon because work, but just wanted to say
Thank you.
on the first year. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you so much. Let's start things off with the Judgment Day and Liv Morgan. That seemed to be a pretty big spotlight tonight. I mean, we started off with Rhea Ripley again taking charge. It seemed like she just stepped in from last week and started taking charge again. Would that be a fair thing to say?
Mhm.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said that it's been it's been a while since the Judgment Day held all the gold that they had. She gave up the women's world. She had to forfeit the women's world title. But it won't be long until the Judgment Day has all the gold again. She plans on beating Liv Morgan for that women's world title at SummerSlam in 11 days. She plans on Damian Priest being the world champion walking out of SummerSlam, and she plans on Finn and JD McDonough still having the tag team titles after SummerSlam. So there is the plan of the Judgment Day, not only running things pretty much the way they are now, but as champions in a whole. The only championship they wouldn't have their hands on is the Intercontinental Championship. And, they can't have the women's tag titles, obviously, unless they get another woman in the group and Rhea tags up with her. But that's it. The Intercontinental title's it. So, the first segment they were in, Rhea took charge. The guys were pretty much egging on Dominic Mysterio to go take care of Jey Uso after there was a promo put out on social media that Rhea said yeet to Jey Uso. And Rhea was stopping Dom, saying that Jey Uso shouldn't even be going after Jey. Jey is really no issue. Leave Jey alone. So let's start with this first segment with the Judgment Day, because we're going to move on with their other segments. But let's start with this specific one and your guys' thoughts on this specific promo backstage. Tommy, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Sean, let's start with you. Your thoughts on this specific promo backstage, their first promo of the night.
I feel like they're really instigating shit. Like the boys, like Finn, especially, is like, take care of Jey Uso. Like, we got to get him. Even though Rhea says he's no issue, don't start a war with Jey Uso. Finn's just like going against the leader per se or whatever, and said, "Fuck you. We're gonna take matters in our own hands."
Yep.
So there's already going to be already seeing cracks in the leadership of Rhea or even Damian. We don't know how that's going to affect shit. So he's already not listening to Rhea, fucking Finn. So yeah, it's.
I mean, I don't know if it would be so much between Damian and Rhea. It's more so Rhea and Finn, because Finn tried to step in tonight and say, forget what she said. Let's go after him. Let's take care of Jey Uso. He is a problem, and we should take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that Rhea and Damian are probably on the same page, and Finn is trying to kind of step in and kind of be the backdoor leader. Cam, would that be fair to say?
I mean, I don't think so necessarily. I think what he's trying to, I think he's kind of the snake in the grass right now. I think right now he's just playing his role. He's playing nice right now, but ultimately, I think in Rhea's absence, I think he's kind of tired of being the whipping boy. I think he's tired of being the henchman, I guess, for the Judgment Day. So I think he's trying to cause as much distractions as humanly possible, and then when he sees his opportunistic time, I think he's going to strike. I think he's going to turn on Damian, probably going to turn on JD, and he's really going to go out on his own. So I think that's what he's really trying to do. So anything I think going forward, I think this is kind of planting the seeds. Anything that Rhea kind of says to Dom or anyone in the Judgment Day or Damien for that matter, I think Finn's gonna ultimately step in and be like, no, never mind what they say. Let's do this anyways. So I think he's trying to ultimately drive a wedge within the group. So
That's fair. It's almost like Finn Balor's going on a rogue mission. You know, it's the way you put it out there. It almost sounds like you could see him going on a rogue mission, and I agree with that, and especially with how he was tonight. Next segment was that they were looking for Jey Uso backstage, and they found him, and you know it was during a Sami Zayn promo, and Sami was talking about his match with Braun Breaker at SummerSlam and other issues that he's pretty much in the middle of. And in the background, you hear noise, you hear things going on, and here it's the Judgment Day. They found Jey Uso, and they started, beating on him. And Sami Zayn intervened, which led us to a match for the main event of Raw tonight. So, do you guys have anything to say about the backstage beatdown? And I know it's the main event. Let's talk about the match, because there is another promo that involves the Judgment Day, but it's kind of a separate thing. It has to do with Rhea, Dom, and Liv. And I feel like that's a separate thing of its own, in a sense. So let's talk about the attack backstage, and let's talk about the match tonight between the Judgment Day and Sami Zayn. Cameron, we'll start with you.
So it was kind of an odd setup because you have Sami Zayn backstage and he's talking about the his opponent at SummerSlam. We got the match made for Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. And then the Judgment Day, of course, attacked Jey Uso. So kind of an odd pairing, I thought at first. But I think maybe this is kind of planting the seeds, I think, for things to come. I mean, like I said, once again, you've got the new bloodline, whatever you want to call them, Bloodline 2.0, whatever, with Solo proclaiming to be the tribal chief on SmackDown, and nobody to really step up and really oppose him right now. So and you have two members of the original bloodline in Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. So and obviously I love their entrance during when they come out for the match, coming through the crowd, hyping up the crowd once again. So that's always just a great shot. I love them coming through the crowd. It makes them feel more connected to the audience. It's not like a separate thing or disconnected thing. They're very connected and they interact with their audience very well. So I love to see that entrance. They're doing the old handshake from the bloodline, stuff like that. So I feel like they're planting the seeds, and I think that is a sign of things to come for when they eventually get roped back in, possibly to the bloodline stuff on SmackDown. But first, we have to get to SummerSlam. And if that is the case, if what I'm saying is true, then we definitely have to get Sami Zayn. We have to get the Intercontinental Championship off Sami Zayn, because the Intercontinental Championship is not the focus. The bloodline thing, the bloodline war is the focus. But no, overall, the match itself, at first I thought this was for the tag team titles, but no, this was a non-title match.
Yeah.
But no, this was a phenomenal match. This was probably one of their better tag team matches I think they put on. It was a war. So many near falls. I mean, you even seen Sami and Jey hit the 1D. That got broken up. So yeah, so many near falls, so many breakup pins. And you can say whatever you want about JD McDonough. I think he had a phenomenal performance tonight. He hit like a beautiful, picture perfect moonsault from the top rope. That was amazing. Tiffany Stratton, eat your heart out, because that was amazing. Yeah. I don't care. But yeah, that was awesome. That was amazing. But yeah, no, awesome match overall. My only gripe is that I don't like to see the tag team champions losing a non-title match. That's my only gripe. But again, I kind of understand it, because like I said, I think they're trying to make Sami Zayn look as strong as possible, going against, once again, like I said, his toughest challenge at SummerSlam. So overall, great, very, very well put together tag team match for the main event.
I mean, maybe this puts Sami Zayn and Jey Uso in the position to go after the tag team titles, because again, they're both still exclusively to Raw, but at the same time, if they get involved in the Bloodline storyline, that's going to go from being on SmackDown to probably going across both brands. Once we get closer to Survivor Series and them having to come up with the teams for for
War Games.
War Games. Yes. Tommy in the chat said that he agrees Finn is tired of being Damien's bitch, so he's gonna turn. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's so much of Finn being tired of being, Damien's. I think it's just more so of Finn starting to kind of get to the point where he probably wants to go out on his own. Because, I mean, if you watch how Damien is towards Finn, yeah, Damien is kind of, pushing the buttons, being I wouldn't say puppet master, but he's directing the Judgment Day. And when he's not there, Rhea's doing it. And now Rhea, again, took charge tonight. She did. So now Rhea's back at doing it. Maybe Finn got to the point where he's cool with Damian Priest, but not liking the fact of Rhea Ripley doing it. Because Rhea Ripley is kind of on a warpath. She is. She is on a warpath for Liv Morgan. And with how she's handling things right now, it's a little reckless. It's Rhea Ripley, in a sense, really isn't playing it too safe. She's kind of being a little reckless. But and if you guys are opposed to that, by all means, speak up on it. That's fine. But before Sean, your thoughts on the backstage segment, the attack, and the match itself in the main event tonight?
The attack was like, it is what it is. It's going to be attack to set up the match. But the match itself, really great. Like Cam was saying, I was kind of hoping he would forget the 1D because I was going to bring that up. Obviously, I agree with Cam. It's alluding to like a shout out to the bloodline, and obviously his brother, him and his brother Jimmy did the 1D. So obviously we're going to get more advanced into that bloodline storyline, hopefully with Jay, Sammy, like Cam said. So the match itself was great. I do agree that like the champs shouldn't have lost in a non-title match, especially so close to SummerSlam. But then again, I don't even know if they have a match on the SummerSlam card yet.
Not currently, no.
That's why I said, do you think maybe Sammy and Jay winning tonight sets up for them to go after the tag titles, maybe on the Go Home show next week?
Possibly, but I don't see. I don't know. With Sammy having to deal with Braun, I don't know. But yeah, it was a great one of the probably the match of the night. Not gonna lie, probably it was really good.
And we'll talk about Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker in a little bit because their match was made for SummerSlam, for the Intercontinental Championship in 11 days out in Cleveland, Ohio. But the final Judgment Day segment that we need to get into, and it seems like it's the biggest one to talk about, is Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Now, Rhea Ripley, again, has kind of been on a warpath tonight. She has been on a warpath for Liv Morgan tonight. So it got to the point where she got completely mad backstage and said, you know what? I'm going to the ring. Like, I need to go to the ring and speak my piece on this. I can't do this back here. I need to go out there. She goes out. She immediately calls out Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan shows up in the crowd, up in the steps, saying that she's not going to come down there tonight because she can control herself. She can control her anger. And she can wait until SummerSlam. She doesn't have to do this whole, like going after each other right now. She can wait 11 days. But Liv Morgan said to Dom, tell her how you really feel. And Dom went off, told Liv that he hates her. He wants nothing to do with her. He started, speaking in Spanish and yelling at her, pretty much made Liv Morgan walk away crying. And that made Rhea Ripley a little happy. And hats off to Michael Cole and his comedy. Because, yes, Michael Cole, she really licked him. It happened. But, guys, we're going to start on this one. Sean, you seem very excited to talk about this. We'll start with you. Your thoughts on this segment with Rhea Ripley.
You see, I missed Michael Cole's comedy because my head was just spinning. Like I said in the beginning, I'm just a simple man. Cupid hit me with an arrow tonight. I swear to God. I'm Liv Morgan. Anyways, the segment was good. I literally tweeted out after she went back crying. I was like, "How f you, Dom? How dare you hurt that beautiful, precious angel, Liv Morgan?" As a joke, of course, on Twitter, just a troll. But other than that, yeah, it was a really good segment, and the way like someone on Twitter said like the way she was actually crying, that way, if she wasn't like fucking with Dom, made it seem like maybe Dom was saying something else to Liv behind closed doors that wasn't what he was saying out loud in front of Rhea Ripley. So,
well, I'll say this, that during the Raw watch along tonight, I found out what he was actually saying. I'm not going to say it here. I'm not.
Oh, he was cussing out.
I'm just kind of surprised that they let it fly. It was heavy.
He pretty much said "F you," blah blah blah.
Oh, it was almost the same what he said in English, but there was more to it. There was way more to it. Cam, your thoughts on this segment and this promo? Yes. Yeah.
This
I
was
just
phenomenal.
add before Cam goes.
Okay.
I just add before you can. My new lock screen is Liv Morgan from tonight. Just gonna throw that out.
I don't blame you. Like I said, I've been saying it for weeks. This is the number one thing that you look forward to watching Raw. So continued saga with Liv Morgan and so and once again, this was another great thing. Now, I always talk about this. This is one of the things I always talk about when it comes to a feud or whatever, is the amount of times or how much they are actually having a physical altercation within the feud before the big day, before the big pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it. They've had none that I can think of since Rhea's come back. That I can think of. Every time Rhea's calling her out, you get Liv on you get her on the Jumbotron. You got her up in the stands. Perfect. Because we already know when they get in the ring, they're gonna try to kill each other. We already know that, and it's gonna be amazing. I've never looked forward to a women's match more than this one. It's just been perfect. Everything they've done, there's been not one single blemish at all. And like I said, and Dom, like that man, he's the luckiest man in the world. I don't care. I don't care. Rhea and Liv. What? That's wild to me. That's wild. So hey, it was great. It was amazing. Honestly, it was amazing. When Liv was crying, I honestly, when she turned around, I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna start smiling. She's gonna start laughing. That's what I thought. So, and she didn't. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And I don't know, but I get this feeling now. Initially, my feeling is Rhea's winning the championship back at SummerSlam. But a part of me feels like maybe she won't, because I feel like maybe Dom is really just playing Rhea. Maybe Dom turns on Rhea and costs her the match and chooses Liv over Rhea. Think about it. Like ever since Liv has just injected herself to the Judgment Day as a new member in place of Rhea, he's beaten his dad. JD and Finn have won the tag team titles, brought those titles back to the Judgment Day. So there you go. I don't see why not. I don't see why he would choose Rhea over Liv now. This doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. So I don't know. That's my initial thought, because I definitely thought about that during the course of this segment. I really feel like he's playing Rhea like the fiddle right now. So we'll see.
And that's why I in response to Tommy's comment, I said that I think Finn is more in tune with Damian being a leader than Rhea, because Rhea comes in tonight and again, and when I mean she's reckless, she's not reckless as, you know, it's almost like controlled chaos.
She's
That's what it is.
blind with rage.
Exactly. She is literally tunnel visioned on one thing. And it's almost like Dom broke that tunnel vision for a moment with what he said. Because after that promo, it's almost like you've seen a switch go off, and she was like, oh, okay, I can smile about this, and I'm going to even lick him on the face, but, you know, I could smile about this. But come next week, I don't know why, I feel like we're going to get Rhea Ripley the same way she was tonight. She's going to be filled with rage. She's going to be tunnel visioned. And Finn Balor, again, just isn't happy with how Rhea is being. Because she's stopping everybody from taking care of the business that they feel like they need to take care of. But when it comes to her business, it's let's take care of it. Like, if you look at it, they want to go take care of Jey Uso. She's stopping that. They want to go take care of Sami Zayn. She's stopping that. But when it comes to her and Liv Morgan, she wants to go take care of all types of business. So, where Damian was like, you know what? We're going to take care of our business, and I don't care what it is. We're going to show people that the Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw out of all cost. Whether it's Gunther, whether it's Sami Zayn, whether it's Jey Uso, whether it's Liv Morgan, we are taking care of business tonight and showing people the Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw.
And which, obviously, they didn't have Damian tonight because of what happened.
Earlier.
What happened at this? Yeah.
And let's get into that real quick. Gunther came out and started out the show by cutting a promo talking about his match against Damian Priest at SummerSlam. They will be facing at SummerSlam for the World's Heavyweight Championship. And since Damian Priest is part of the Judgment Day, that's a little bit of the last piece of business of talking about the Judgment Day tonight. Gunther came out, talked about Damian Priest, talked about their match at SummerSlam, and Damian came out. They got into it, and Gunther stood tall. Your guys' thoughts on this real quick? Cam, we'll start with you.
So this is one of my things I think that carried Raw tonight. Damian comes out. I mean, I'm not gonna talk. I'm gonna just throw hands. Love it. This is why I wanted Gunther and Damian over the possibility of Gunther and Seth. Because again, I feel like Damian is the one that can keep up with the physicality of Gunther. And it's just, like I said, it's just two brutes just duking it out. And that's what you got tonight. You got nothing but sheer violence. And it's one of the matches on the card that I'm looking forward to for sure. So, no, I thought this was great. No talking. There's nothing else to be said. Let's just fight. That's plain and simple. There's nothing more you can possibly say that's going to move this story along. And this is the one time that I'm okay with them actually having a physical altercation before their match. Because like I said, there's just nothing else to be said. You can't do anything else doing this.
No.
It's time to fight. So I'm ready for it.
And speaking of that, before we move on to Sean's thoughts about this, and Sean, you can give your thoughts also about this and what I'm going to add on. We got a Gunther promo video again this week, later on in the show. And it was pretty much the same thing that we've been getting the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, there really has been no progression with it.
No.
Like, it's a cool video. Don't get me wrong. WWE, I love when WWE does these videos. But when they overgive us this almost the same thing, it's like, okay, you guys really don't have to prove yourselves with your production. You've done that already. Give us something new. Why not give us a Damian Priest one? Like we've seen Gunther the past 2 weeks. Why not give us a Damian Priest one for once? Let Damian Priest get in depth about talking about this. Is that fair to say, Cam? Like,
I mean, essentially, it's just what you kind of said already. It's a production flex. That's all it is. It's just, hey, look at us. Our production is fantastic right now. That's all it is. Yeah.
Sean, your thoughts on the opening promo, and if you have any thoughts on the Gunther video that we got later on.
The video, pretty much what y'all both said, is production flex, and I think it's just the fact that they didn't do one for Damian is because in this scenario, Gunther's the heel, so like he's just doing heelish bragging and shit. I did this, and that, and the third, right? I'm better than with the segment. I was got confused at first of when Gunther said come out and just hand me my world title. I was like, wait, did Damian get injured somewhere? Like in between last Raw and now? And then Damian came out and obviously they beat the shit out of each other. Which kind of worries me because obviously when the challenger stands tall, before the big PLE means they usually don't win. So I'm kind of nervous because how much I want Gunther to win. So I don't know. But that's what I love about the fact that this feud is so – it could go both ways. Damian can win or Gunther can win. I love it.
I mean, you kind of answered your own question in a sense. Like, yeah, during promos like this, essentially before a big PLE, if the challenger stands tall 9 times out of 10, they don't win. They don't win at that exact moment. But somewhere down the road, if they challenge again, they win at that most unexpected time. You know what I mean? Like when you look at I'm trying to think of the best example to give you when this has happened in the past. I can't think of really anything off the top of my head. But, I mean, Gunther's out there claiming that, Damian Priest is going to be nothing to him. I mean, we've heard it in the past couple weeks of him saying, like, you're a paper champion. Like, you're pretty much holding a championship that should rightfully be mine. So just hand it to me. Save yourself the embarrassment. Save yourself the physicality. Save yourself the embarrassment of getting beat. Just hand me the title. And we'll call it even. Damian Priest is showing like, no, I'm a fighting champion. And this kind of plays off the last PLE when him and Drew McIntyre were going at it. Drew McIntyre called him a paper champion, saying that he can't win title matches on his own. And he proved Drew McIntyre wrong. He said, look, I went out there. I fought on my own. Nobody from the Judgment Day got involved. Yeah, I walked away as champion. And somebody else got involved because, well, Drew McIntyre, it was Damian Priest and Seth Rollins. I apologize. I mixed that up. But Drew McIntyre got involved and Damian Priest proved Seth Rollins wrong. You know what I mean? So it's pretty much a proving ground for Damian Priest. Because if you go back to the old regime, Damian Priest probably wouldn't even be a thought of being a world champion. Where this regime now is like, you know what? We're going to show people that champions that are holding belts now that wouldn't in the past probably even be a champion can prove that they can be a champion and carry this company. And Damian Priest has not been a bad world champion. I actually like the fact that he's world champion. And I'm sorry, Sean, but I hope Damian Priest walks out of SummerSlam as the world's heavyweight champion. I do. Because I've been saying it for months. Months. We can go back to the Royal Rumble when I said it. That I don't think Gunther should hold the world title to at least 2025. I just don't think he's there yet. Because, and my question for you guys, though, is Damian Priest being world champion right now, he has pretty much an open invitation of who can challenge him. We can go back to Drew McIntyre. We can go back to Seth Rollins. We can even get something between him, CM Punk. We can, because CM Punk, you know, obviously we're going to talk about Drew McIntyre and CM Punk in a little bit, but CM Punk can play it off and say, look, like, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have that belt around your waist right now. That could be a challenger. For Gunther, where's Gunther's challengers once he gets that world title? Because he has that sole focus on Damian Priest right now. Who would challenge him? And if you guys have anybody in thought, by all means, the floor is yours to answer this. Cam, do you have anybody that you could think off the top of your head who would challenge Gunther once he wins the world title, if he were to win the world title?
Ilya Dragunov.
Okay. Fair. Fair.
I don't see why not. That would be, we've all talked about it. Like that would be a great match off the top. So yeah.
And the good thing is with that, you know what? I'll say this. That's fair, and I can agree to that, because I know back when the Ilya first came up on the main roster, everybody was pushing for that right away. And they didn't do it. And I'm glad they didn't. It's now been about 3 months. And if Gunther will win the world title, that'd be a good start. Sean, do you have anybody off the top of your head?
I'm going to throw a name out there. It's probably going to be like, what the fuck? But just simply because I think, just like a Damian and Gunther scenario, I think Big Bronson Reed would be a good, I mean, obviously like a short-term contender until they build someone like very liable for Gunther. But Big Bronson Reed would be an interesting dynamic with Gunther, and two big men, physical. So
it's not a bad pick, but I think they would have to find a way to get Gunther to be a babyface or turn Bronson Reed. And me and Cam talked about this last week. We went into depth about talking about Bronson Reed, about, you know, he would be a good fit to be somebody to go down to like an NXT, and they can insert him right there, because he could be a challenger for something like a North American Championship. I mean, especially for Obafemi. Bronson Reed right now is that heel that you can insert him anywhere on any Monday night and put on a good match against anybody and elevate them. So it's not a bad pick, but they would have to figure out how to really get the fans to be behind one of them. And Gunther would probably be the easier one if I were to say. Who would you think would be the easier one to get behind if that happened?
I would say, like, I agree with you. I would say Gunther.
Okay. Cam, who would you think would be the easier one to get behind?
I mean, that all depends on booking. I mean, you look at the situation right now. I mean, what is Gunther? Is he a heel or a face? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Damian's supposed to be technically a heel.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But then when he first won the world championship, they put out that whole video package that kind of made him look like a babyface, which didn't really make a lot of sense.
Yep.
So he's kind of a babyface. They're both kind of neutral right now. You know what I mean? And I don't think fans are going to really care, because they know they're going to see, you know, brutal violence between the two of them, because they're going to put it all on the line in the ring. So it's the same thing with Bronson Reed and Gunther. Now, sure, you probably could get Gunther. Maybe that would look so strange to me. But maybe you could get Gunther to be the babyface, because I just can't picture him as a babyface coming out smiling, you know, high five, and I just can't see that.
Yeah,
but you could. I'm sure you get to some kind of place to where you could get him somewhat liked, because Bronson Reed just doesn't look like he could be a face of someone who's, again, like just what I said about Gunther, you know, high five and kissing babies and stuff. It just doesn't seem like his thing. He is like the modern day Bam Bam Bigelow. He's just a mean SOB. He's not supposed to be smiling, and he's not. It's not him.
I think
Even if
Gunther that
even if he was, sorry, Sean, even if he was a babyface, I would see him as more. He's the ass kicker. You know what I'm saying? He's not. Again, he's not like a Cody Rhodes who's just squeaky clean. You know what I mean? He become like the anti-hero.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I see it.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I think Gunther doesn't necessarily need to smile and shake hands and stuff like that. I think he can be like a Stone Cold-esque kind of like, you know, ass kicker, you know, leader. Like he's been kind of like militant leader that he's been doing his run. Like obviously Imperium's kind of dead right now.
They're done.
So yeah, they're done. They're
not even there anymore. The thing is, though, is I agree with Cam on saying that Gunther would be hard to do because you can't see him going out there and shaking hands and everything like that. I would agree with Gunther being the heel. Bronson Reed, I think, would be the easier one to kind of turn baby because, like, when you look at professional wrestling, 95% of it is presentation, whether it's an entrance theme or the entrance itself, and even the in-ring, you know, the in-ring work that's being done. It's presentation. It's what's being done. When you look at Gunther and his entrance and everything that he does, that speaks and screams heel. Bronson Reed has the entrance theme that could be used for a babyface or a heel. That's why I feel like Bronson Reed would be the easier one to kind of turn baby, because if he were to be unsuccessful against Gunther, then he can move forward. And if you had to turn him heel again, they can do it at the drop of a dime. And it wouldn't hurt him at all. And that was part of our discussion last week is there's really no hurting Bronson Reed at all. No matter what you do with him, there is no hurting him. He is solid right now. And that's why he would be good to go to like a SmackDown and NXT and help out and elevate anybody, even doing it on Raw right now. You know, we were supposed to get a match between him and Pete Dunne before Sheamus got involved tonight.
That's another contender that you can have is Sheamus.
Sheamus would be a good one. But we're not going to get too deep into that. We'll have to see if Gunther wins the World's Heavyweight Championship first. Again, happening at SummerSlam against Damian Priest for the world title in about 11 days. But let's stick around on the championships. We got a number one contenders match. Speaking of Ilya Dragunov, with Cam bringing up Ilya Dragunov, we got Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker in a number one contendership match tonight for the Intercontinental Championship. Winner gets to go to SummerSlam and face Sami Zayn. Guys, brutal match, very physical. The match ended with Braun Breaker spearing the living crap out of Ilya Dragunov to the point where the match had to be stopped. Braun Breaker ends up picking up the win, and now he moves on to SummerSlam to take on Sami Zayn. Get your thoughts on this match. Sean, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov.
They beat the shit out of each other. That's what I'm going to say. They beat the shit out of each other. And I'm excited for Braun versus Sami again. Obviously, I didn't get what I wanted when I was in Toronto with my boy Braun winning the title. But this is where I feel that Braun will take the title is at SummerSlam. But all in all, the match was fucking brutal, like you said. Beat the shit out of each other. This is what I love to see. It's just this kind of brutality. No pun intended.
I mean, it was a very physical match, and it's something that was pretty much expected from these two from the word go. There was no denying that. Cam, your thoughts on Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker for the number one contendership?
No, yeah, they definitely went to war for sure. I expect nothing less out of an Ilya Dragunov match. Of course, the man's just intensity personified. But and I think the whole spear off the apron. I think Ilya is very good at what he does. I legitimately thought he was hurt for a second, but I think he's very, very good at selling. I know he had a match. I can't remember against who, in NXT, and I know he was selling a finger injury or fingers injury, after that match or whatever. And it was so good. Like it was done so well. Like his selling is very underrated, I think. But after tonight, I think it can't be overlooked anymore. I think he's just excellent at selling. So yeah, they keep coming up with these creative ways to end these Braun Breaker matches. I don't know if that's the goal here. I don't know if the goal is just week after week to put Braun in these situations with these matches where he's not really getting like pinfalls. It's just more, disqualifications, countouts, KOs, whatever. They're kind of just throwing the book at Braun's matches, it seems like. I'm not sure how long they're going to be able to keep up that shtick necessarily before it just gets old. I think they're starting to get to that point. Honestly, I think I would like to see Braun go the more traditional route and just get pinfall victories. I think that looks better, anyways. For the short period of time they were doing that, like in the his earlier run, I guess it was like, okay, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make him look like Mr. Chaos essentially. But now it's like, okay, he's settled in. The honeymoon phase is over. He's been on Raw long enough. We need to get him some actual pinfall victories, I think. So, but I get it. They're protecting Ilya Dragunov. It doesn't hurt Ilya Dragunov, but it still makes Braun look strong in the long run. So, and I think he's destined to win the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. So, overall, great match.
I agree with that. When we talked about the Intercontinental title match a couple of weeks ago when we did our prediction show, I even said that Money in the Bank, I didn't see Braun Breaker walking out with the title then, but I seen it happening at SummerSlam. I agree with that. That the Money in the Bank match was kind of that tester match to kind of see what we would get. And by all means, Braun and Sammy was not a bad match at Money in the Bank. It wasn't. But now it's at the point where you have Braun Breaker running around, taking people out, and showing his dominance. You go back to the early days of a Brock Lesnar or the early days of a Goldberg, and the Goldberg thing, it kind of got old. You got what you got, and you kind of expected it. Go in, spear, jackhammer, pin. That was it. Then later on in his career in WCW, it was okay. Now he's having matches. Now we're seeing full-length matches with a Kevin Nash and a Bret Hart and a Hulk Hogan. We're seeing that. It would not hurt Braun Breaker once they switch him to having the full-on length matches to where pinfalls and submissions happen. It won't. I agree with you. I think they need to get to that point because, again, like you said, the honeymoon phase is over. It is. That time is over. They need to start having clean wins and losses. So I can agree with that, and I can definitely see Braun Breaker walking out of SummerSlam with the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. So, CM Punk cut a promo tonight, guys. He came out, looked good, and we got some great news. Not only is CM Punk cleared, but Drew McIntyre has been reinstated. We are getting the match at SummerSlam, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, but there's an added stipulation to this, and that is Seth freaking Rollins is the special guest referee. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to give my thoughts on this one first. This is going to be a chaotic match at SummerSlam with Seth Rollins being in that ring in the zebra stripes. I'm just going to say that right now. No questions asked. And I wish I can be in that stadium next Saturday. Cam, your thoughts on this whole situation? Your thoughts? Are you excited about CM Punk and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam? And are you excited about Seth Rollins being the referee?
I'm excited and shocked because, again, as I said this last week, I believe we talked about this. I really didn't see them having this match until at least Bad Blood. I thought they were going to hold off on this. So hearing CM Punk say that he was cleared, I was like, okay, well then there you go. Let's get him back in the ring. Let's get him in some boots. Let's get him in some tights, And to hear this match get announced, man, Oh man, it popped me. It definitely did because I'm like we finally get this match, and then to get Seth come out and get Seth as the special guest referee. Dare I say, and this is probably a bold take, but dare I say this should be the main event of SummerSlam? Like it's just that big. This storyline, it's been the longest thing outside the Bloodline thing. It's been the long and probably Judgment Day thing. It's been the longest thing we've gotten, the most consistent thing we've gotten across pay-per-views in different countries. This has been the most consistent thing and one of my favorite things. But it's always been an asterisk on it because we don't know the status, the true status of CM Punk and when he's coming back and entering competition.
Yep.
So this is going to be amazing. I really don't care who wins. I don't even care if it ends in disqualification. I just want sheer chaos because that's what I think it's going to be anyways. Just sheer chaos. It's going to be amazing. So I'm here for it. Here to hear Cult of Personality in that stadium. Oh man, come on, that's gonna be amazing.
I can honestly agree with you on it being the main event. I can, because when you look at this card so far, Damian Priest and Gunther, could it be the main event? Yes, but does it fit main event? Maybe. Cody and Solo. I'm sorry, but Solo really doesn't give me the main event vibe right now with everything that's going on SmackDown. No. Cody, yes. Solo, no.
Unless they have Roman planning to return, then
yeah.
I think it's going to be. I think it's the main event, and I think that something's going to happen. This isn't going to just be some straight up one-on-one. I think this match is going to be about as overbooked as the WrestleMania match was. So something they got a surprise up their sleeve, I think. So
and Sean, I've thought about that myself because my prediction is that Roman's going to return at SummerSlam. That is my prediction. I think so. But you can fit Roman's return pretty much into any slot. I mean, even if it's in the middle of the show. I mean, think of it this way. Say we're 2 hours into SummerSlam and we've only gotten through 3 matches. And Solo and Cody are the 4th match of the night. By the 4th match, fans are kind of like, okay, we're settled in. It's been a long day. You're waiting to get into the stadium. It's also still summertime. It's hot out. It's not a dome. So you're sitting in the heat in Cleveland because in Cleveland it can get hot. So fans could ultimately be getting a little fatigue. So to give them something like a Roman return would be huge for even a middle of the show. I mean, would they do it at the beginning of the show? Maybe. That's a maybe. It would be a rough spot. But more so like the middle of the show, closer to the end of the show, non-main event. It probably would be better, especially to help build that crowd up again and get them hyped. And then you get ready for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And like Cam said, this has gone across, into other countries. We didn't only see it happen at Clash at the Castle. We've seen it happen, in Toronto. We've seen it happen, I was going to say Chicago, but Chicago's in the U.S. Duh, Mike. But, yeah, Sean, your ultimate thoughts on this. How do you feel about Drew McIntyre, CM Punk? How do you feel about Seth being the referee? Your full-on thoughts about this.
I mean, we don't have to count Chicago as part of the U.S. I'm just kidding. Just joking.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I'm just kidding.
We love you, Chicago. We love you, Chicago.
I'm just joking, Chicago. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding.
I feel like a rock band right now.
Right?
Just being an asshole, But anyways, I think this is where we get quote unquote a Seth Rollins heel turn. I say a quote unquote heel turn because of the way him and Punk don't like each other. Also, the quote unquote heel turn for me is because I think CM Punk is the heel in this situation with all the shit he's been doing with Drew McIntyre, screwing over Drew McIntyre.
I'm gonna give you guys one frame of mind and thought on something. And this kind of takes us out of the realm of pro wrestling in a sense. But as we know, WWE kind of, when we get a world champion in football or hockey or basketball, they send a belt with the side plates on it and everything like that. Okay. CM Punk's from Chicago. Now we know Seth Rollins is from Iowa, from Davenport, Iowa, but he is a Bears fan. That is something that CM Punk and Seth Rollins have in common. Now, I know that's stupid, but they have something in common. They are Bears fans. Seth Rollins turning heel. I mean, could it happen? Yeah. But you got to think of it this way, is with how heavy Drew McIntyre and CM Punk are right now with their storyline, even Drew McIntyre, you really can't say he's a heel. You can't even say CM Punk is a babyface. This is like a neutral, grounded match. And Seth Rollins is that neutral ground as well. And that's why I say this is, and I agree with Cam, this is going to be an all-out fight. This is going to be an explosion. Like, this match may not even end with a clean finish. It may not. And for it to close out the show, it would be a great way for WWE to promote a pay-per-view that they haven't held in 20 years in Bad Blood. They can even sneak that in there. They have many ways of doing things. So, Sean, I don't disagree with you on turning Seth Rollins heel, because Seth Rollins' heel work, face it, it's a little better than when he's a babyface. But the crowd loves him. That's the thing, and again, it goes back to what I talked about a few minutes ago with presentation. They get to sing a song. Like, that song alone, the crowd loves him.
I mean, to be fair, they were singing it when he was the heel too, which turned him pretty much babyface. So
that would be the hard part of turning him a heel then. Because how are you supposed to get a crowd to hate somebody where they love singing the song?
You gotta attack the biggest babyface on the card, on the program. Change his theme, do all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. You gotta attack the biggest babyface and change that theme song in order to get.
What is Jay the biggest babyface on Raw then, right?
I wouldn't even say he's the biggest babyface.
He's one of them. I wouldn't say he's the.
I don't even know who the biggest babyface on Raw is. To be honest.
Seth Rollins.
But if Seth Rollins turns heel, who would he attack then? Is my question.
Jey Uso. That's my pick.
It would have to be somebody like a Jey Uso or
a Bo Dallas. I don't know.
Or somebody from the Wyatt Six, or even,
which is like kind of a death wish. I don't know why you would attack the Wyatt Six, but
or do something along the lines of doing something that would be outlandish, like helping out a Chad Gable attacking Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston in the Alpha Academy and everything.
There you
go. Something like that. That would have to help that. Do something like helping out, the Judgment Day, primarily Dominic Mysterio, because Dominic Mysterio is the most hated member of the Judgment Day right now.
I hate that, man. That lucky son of a bitch.
I'm just saying, they would have to really find a way to really turn him, because right now, again, just with that theme song alone, you can't do it. It's hard to do. They would have to change that theme song and have him attack one of the biggest baby faces on the show. I mean, if they were to turn him heel, their best scenario were to somehow, some way, get him over to SmackDown and attack Cody. That would be the move.
Or LA Knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or LA Knight. But SummerSlam, again, in 11 days, we're getting CM Punk. We are getting Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins is the special guest referee. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys are looking forward to it. And I can't wait. I can't wait till SummerSlam. I love SummerSlam. So I love summertime, but I love SummerSlam. SummerSlam is one of my favorite events of the year. So some other things we got on Raw tonight. We obviously seen Xavier Woods team up with Otis Tozawa against Karrion Kross and AOP. Now, Kross and AOP ended up picking up the win. But after that, Chad Gable and the Creed brothers came out and tried to get Otis and Tozawa and the rest of Alpha Academy to join them right after they even talked down on Otis. Said that Otis, should be using his brain, but he already knows that Otis apparently doesn't have one. Talked completely down. But then the Wyatt Six came out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we got a new video tonight, and it wasn't much. It was just Nikki Cross on the video, and as I situate my notes here, because I got to get to the video part. So the video for the Wyatt Six was Nikki Cross, and all you really heard was them saying was, they lied to you. They made you suffer. They lied to you and made you suffer, and then continuously saying they lied to you. Dozens of times. And we got this huge scream from Nikki Cross. And that was it. My question for you guys is, do you feel like that was enough? Like, do you feel like they hit the sweet spot when it came to this video tonight with Nikki Cross? Sean, we'll start with you, and then we'll get into the talk about Chad Gable. Or if you have any thoughts about, the Wyatt Six coming out and pretty much scaring Chad Gable. If you have any thoughts on that, by all means, add it in.
I actually think, yes, it's the sweet spot. They're doing something different with Nikki to make you look at it and think, like, why is Nikki different? Why aren't they giving her a therapy session like they did with Rowan and Bo? There's something odd about this. This is what I like depicting with the Wyatt Six stuff. Like, and who's they lied to you? Like, that's
the system.
Yeah, the system. All this stuff is I like these the mind. What is it called? Mind riddles, mind game. I don't know. We have to figure puzzles. We have to figure out what the fuck they're doing. Mm-hmm. And to go on to your point about the Wyatt Six showing up, the Uncle Howdy. I'm not gonna lie. That was a beautiful Sister Abigail. That was a beautiful Sister Abigail. Bray would be proud, but my only gripe is I hope Bo has his own finisher. I get it. It's in honor of Bray, but I would like Bo to have his own finisher. Uncle Howdy to have his own finisher. Maybe Abigail in a while in honor of Bray, but I hope it's not his finisher going forward.
Sean, me and Cam kind of got into a deep depth conversation about the Wyatt Six last week, and we were talking in depth about the videos and the therapy sessions and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we're getting great work with the videos and everything like that. We also got into a deep depth conversation about, when the bell rings. Okay. Because right now they're doing great with it. We're getting great videos. Okay. We're seeing them, but we're not seeing them work in the ring. The question is, and this is what I want to get your answer on, is when the bell rings is when it's really going to matter. Do you A, want to see them keep their masks on and stay in character? Or B, because we got the reveal of who everybody is, basically, do you want to see them not be in their masks when the bell rings?
I kind of see their mask as kind of like their own versions of their own fiends. So if they can find some way to give them a wrestling appropriate style mask for each of them, I would love that. If there's ways they can't, then yeah, unmask will be fine. Maybe even do this, like maybe here and there, like not big things that would wrestle without the mask, but for big things they would kind of call on to their fiend, kind of like what Bray did, you know?
So, like when Bray was the Fiend in special matches, we've seen him wrestle as the Fiend, but in other situations, we've seen him come out in, you know, the vest and the khakis, and pretty much what we've seen him dressed in during Firefly Funhouse's vignettes.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's the thing is they would really have to, if they were to stay in mask, like you said, they would have to create a mask that would be fit for ring, because what they're wearing right now would not fit. It wouldn't happen. If they can somehow come up with a mask that would fit like the Fiend mask did, and I'm sure they can come up with it. I mean, if you look at a band like Slipknot and the same person that makes the Fiend mask and is doing everything for
Jason Baker
does the Slipknot masks. So, you know, if he were to be able to create some sort of mask that fits the character, I could see it. But at the same time, I can see where you're coming from, because I was going to say we already got the reveal of who they are, but I can see where you're coming from. I can. The question would be though is, you know, there's really no separation right now between the human form and the character. Even when they show the human form, they're still kind of in their character, but they're able to talk. You know what I mean? So for us to get them in a mask, it would almost have to be like a special thing, like when we got with the Fiend. It would. Other than that, because of the fact that we got the reveal of everybody and we got the human side of them, in a small sense, it wouldn't make it. It wouldn't make sense. So, Cam, do you have any reaction? Do you think that would be a good idea? Maybe make a mask that would be in-ring fit so they can be in a mask for special, you know, situations?
I mean, they could. I still stand by this. I still stand by not having them in mask. That's just me. I mean, we already know who they are. You know, we've already seen most of their faces. So it's just kind of like, I still stand by a face paint kind of thing that still represents their characters or something of that nature will be fine. I don't think we really need to see them in a mask when they're wrestling. In their entrance, that's fine. Once that bell rings, the mask come off.
Yeah, I mean, like I said last week, I can agree with the face paint thing. I can. Because it would be a fitting thing, but I'm also, honestly, I'm not really against them creating a mask that would be in ring fit. That's not a bad idea, Sean. I'm honestly not really against it, but they would have to make it presentable. You know what I mean? They would have to kind of make it presentable, and make it easy for them to wear, because, you know, if you listen to interviews of wrestlers that wrestle in masks, they do say that some masks are hard to wrestle in because it's not as easy to breathe. Sometimes it's not as easy to see because you're sweating so much, you know. So I think they would have to really come up with something that would make it easier so we can get the full performance of the star. You know, so I'm not against anything you guys said. Both your opinions are valid, and I'm for it. So yeah. Other things that happened on Raw tonight. We kind of run down a lot of the things that happened on Raw tonight. Some of the stuff that happened on Raw tonight, and I'm going to go in order with this stuff. The first thing was we got a match between Lyra Valkyria and Sonya Deville to continue that feud and that storyline going on. Gentlemen, you know the big question is your thoughts on the match for tonight. And Cam, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on Lyra and Sonya Deville's match?
You're muted. Cam.
You're muted. Your mic's off.
My bad.
You're
Well, no, it was a match. I mean, for what it was, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of on ice right now. I feel like I'm not sure what we're doing. I kind of alluded to this last week as well. I think Sonya Deville is trying to be, they're trying to build up Sonya Deville to be on par with the other two members of that trio right now. So we still don't even have a name for them yet. So it's still in the very early infant stages of this trio right now. So I think they're trying to establish Sonya Deville as somebody, as a name, somebody who's should be recognized, I guess, within this group, and not be just looked at as somebody who's like their valet, So, but yeah, it was a match for what it was. I mean, it was kind of there and it wasn't. So not really anything memorable that came out of this match, though.
Sean, your thoughts on the match?
This is where I criticize Triple H's booking. It's like, what the fuck is he doing with Lyra Valkyria? Like, putting him with the dancing tag team, whatever. She looks so out of place. She came in as this big promising star from NXT and then kind of just stuck in a trios tag team now. Like, I get it. They're trying to build up Sonya and Shayna and them, but this team with her and whatever the fuck they're called, Katana and
Carter and Chance.
Yeah, I don't even know if they have a tag team name. It just doesn't fit for me. It just looks weird. Like,
well, to be fair about Lyra, here's the thing, Sean, is when we first got Lyra Valkyria, okay, they tried to kind of pick up where they left off with her and Becky Lynch, but working as a team, kind of having that respect for each other. And then you involved Liv Morgan because Becky Lynch at the time was feuding with Liv Morgan. And it all surrounded the Women's World Championship because obviously Rhea Ripley had to relinquish the world title because of being injured. And Lyra came up, and I think what they really caught was seeing the attention of the fan. And that's one thing I'm noticing with WWE as of late is they are paying attention to the fan. They got a lot of talk about, is Lyra getting pushed down our throats more or less? And you look at it like she was in the Queen of the Ring tournament and she got beat by Nia Jax. She got basically squashed by Nia Jax. And that's, it was almost like a squash match at King Queen of the Ring. Nia Jax beat her clean up. Like, that's it. But we also got Lyra challenged, had her shot for the Women's World title and everything. Like, she was very heavily pushed the moment she stepped foot on Raw. No questions asked, but WWE called a lot of slack right off the bat for it. Like, she just got here. She's not even on Raw for a cup of coffee, and we're already getting her going into the Queen of the Ring finals, getting world title matches, all this stuff. So I think what WWE really said to themselves was, let's take a step back with her. We don't want to wear her out too soon because she's got to be a valid contender for the Women's World title moving forward, whether Rhea Ripley's the champion or Liv Morgan's the champion. And I think sooner or later we'll get Lyra back to that, status. But right now it's kind of a, let's take a step back with her. Let's get all four wheels on this car and let's get it moving. Let's not turn her into a speed bike and try and have her, move forward as fast as we're doing this thing. You know what I mean? Because when they take a star and they try and move them too fast, we've seen it with many stars in the past, Roman Reigns being one of them. Look at what happened with Roman. He breaks away from the Shield. He becomes this big star. He's challenging for the world title against Brock at 31, and people weren't happy about it. I mean, look what happened to him in Philly after the Rumble. He got booed out of the arena. I think that's what Triple H is trying to save, or this regime, Triple H and whoever is writing the shows and everything is trying to save, these new stars from having to go through that. They're being patient with it and they're trying to build them up to where when it's time for them to realistically get that push, that lift, it's the right timing. You know what I mean? Like they featured her, they gave her that, and no pun intended, the wings on her back to fly. She did it. Now let's bring her back down and find another way to build her back up once she's in that position. Because right now, when you look at Raw and the landscape of Raw right now, it's Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. That's what it is. And yeah, they're building the group up of Sonya Deville and Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler. But that's going to be a slow building group. And they've been showing that so far. So, I mean, at least Lyra's on our TV. She could be just sitting backstage doing nothing. At least she's there. So, that's my input on it. Other people can have inputs on it, but that's the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, I agree with you guys. Not a bad match. It's a match for what it was. Trying to build up Sonya and Zoe and Shayna. I always get stuck when it comes to saying the other one's name sometimes because it's like Sonya, Shayna, Sonya, Shayna, Sonya.
That's why they need a singular name.
Yeah.
Zero Aura Zoe is what I call her. Just saying.
Speaking of Zoe and Shayna and Sonya, Sonya, and Zoe. Later on in the night, we got Zoe Stark in a match against Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega doing an interview before the match, saying that her injury was not going to hold her back. We've seen a lot of stuff in this match, a lot of involvement. We've seen the involvement earlier in the night, and Sonya and Lyra got a little distracted, got beat by Sonya, and Zelina used her injury to her advantage tonight and beat Zoe Stark. So, Cam, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on Zelina Vega and Zoe Stark. Do you have any thoughts on this match?
Well, I didn't really see a lot of this match. I was doing my duties around the house, taking out the trash. But I did when I was downstairs. I was kind of listening to it, and I heard the TV from upstairs. And when I heard the bell ring, and then I heard Cole go, "Oh, what a big victory for Zelina Vega!" And I was like, "What?" Like I was shocked because I didn't see this group getting a loss so quickly. To me, I think it's one of the 4 things that I really liked about Raw, or at least I can't necessarily say I liked it necessarily, but just something that I thought was shocking because I didn't really see Zelina Vega winning this match. The downside to this is that I think you're sort of hurting this young group already, having them get a loss. As I just talked about, you're still building them up, so that kind of hurts them in a way. But maybe they got something bigger planned for Zelina Vega that we're just not seeing yet. I don't know. She's been featured away from the LWO more and more here recently, ever since her match and her brief feud with Liv Morgan. So maybe they got something bigger planned for Zelina Vega. I don't know, but I think that's just maybe them trying to create more depth in their women's division. They don't want everybody just so clumped together. I mean, when you look at Lyra, who we just talked about, it's a 50-50 thing. It serves as a two-way street where they're taking a breather on Lyra. They don't want to just be like, having her pick up victory over and over and over. And then it's just like fans will just get worn out on her already. And then, but you also bring up a tag team like Carter and Chance, who since losing the tag team titles haven't really done much. They haven't really been featured. They're kind of forgotten about most times on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, so you stick them 3 together. It may not make a lot of sense. It may look weird when they come out, 2 totally different gimmicks, but it serves a purpose of we're getting Carter and Chance screen time, and we're giving Lyra a breather in a singles run. So it makes perfect sense. So like I said, I don't know what they're doing with Zelina Vega. I'm not sure, but who knows? Maybe they're trying to push somebody who doesn't really get a lot of opportunity. So definitely a shocker for Monday Night Raw. So
I do have a response to something you said. I actually have two responses. I'm gonna respond to one of them right now, and that is I agree with you. At least Carter and Chance are getting the screen time, just like Lyra. Getting the screen time, at least we're seeing them on our TV. We're not forgetting about them because we do see them. But at the same time, what you have them involved in, it's kind of like, it's a 50-50 thing. Like you forget, but then you don't forget because they're there, but it's not something you're too excited about. I do have a response to something else, but before I respond, Sean, your thoughts on this match?
I only just thought, like, why is she wrestling injured? Like, I don't know. It was just confusing me, so I don't really have any thoughts on the match. Like, I just was like, why is she wrestling injured?
Okay. Like I said, I have a response to something that Cam said. And Cam, me and you are on the same brain length when it comes to pro wrestling. For the most part, we kind of agree on almost everything in a sense. There's some things we disagree on. And there's one thing that I do disagree with you on one thing. I don't feel like this loss for Zoe Stark hurts her too much. I understand that they're trying to build this new group and trying to build them to be like these three badass women who are trying to take over Monday Night Raw, and they're trying to do it one woman at a time, if not three women at a time. I think more so this doesn't hurt Zoe, but it helps Zelina, because Zelina, in a small sense, after her feud with Rhea Ripley a year ago, kind of got lost in the sauce, but still showing up on TV with the LWO. And this win for her is a nice little boost. It's kind of like saying, like, hey, Zelina's still here. And yeah, she used a cast to win, but you go back to the heritage and the history of the LWO and think about who was involved. Eddie Guerrero, one of her inspirations. You lie, you cheat, you steal. You do anything you have to do to win a match. And that's kind of what she did. She did what she had to do to win a match. That's why I feel like it doesn't hurt Zoe, but it helps Zelina. Do you have any response to something that I mentioned?
Well, look at it this way. They're not really going to be using Zoe as much in a singles capacity as much as they are as more so a tag team with Shayna. So shortly after this, we had a backstage segment with the reigning tag team champions.
Yes.
Now, to me, it looks ridiculous after one of the members going after the tag team titles just came off a loss. Okay. And they're still threatening to be like, oh, we're going to take your titles. And it's like, yeah, but you just lost. I get it. It was in a singles, match, but it's like, I look at that and I think like, I don't see them standing a chance. Now it diminished the believability that this tag team can be dominant and just go in there and just take the tag team titles easily from Dawn and Fire. That's how I'm looking at it. Like, so again, I'm going to assume next week is going to be Shayna's turn to have a singles match. And if she loses, then it's like, well, then I guess the focus is just Sonya, because I don't see Sonya losing for a while. So I don't know.
Do you think with, you gave Sonya the win tonight, you gave Zoe the loss, you had the backstage segment. Do you think maybe doing it like that gives a little bit of, no pun intended, fire for the tag team champions? Because we're not seeing much of the tag team champions. We're seeing them in segments. That's it. We're not seeing them in matches.
That's another gripe I have with Triple H, by the way.
Do you think that is fair to say, that it could be them just trying to give the tag team champions a little bit of a boost to the fact we're not getting any in-ring stuff from them?
I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the tag team titles. Like I said, Friday, I said that I liked them being on SmackDown. Because again, they're not attached to any one brand. Love it. Love to see it. But it's like every every step forward they take with the tag team titles, they take 2 steps back. They took 2 steps back tonight. I didn't like that. They're doing this. They're playing this cat and mouse with their competitors, with Bianca and Jade on SmackDown, with Shayna and Zoe on Raw. It's, oh, we're gonna retain our titles. Oh, no, you're not. We're gonna take the titles. Oh, no, you're not. Like, what are we doing? It's like a verbal tug of war. Like, just have the match already. I was yelling at my TV during that segment. I'm like, just have the match already.
Yeah.
I don't even care if it's a pre-show match. Just have the match already. What are we doing? You know?
And, yeah, we put the question out there on Friday Night Review. If you want to go check out the show, it is up on recording right now on one of the YouTube channels, the Off the Top Media YouTube channel right now. Friday Night Review, we did talk about the women's tag team titles and the possibility of what type of match may happen, seeing that all these women are involved. But Sean, you said that you had a gripe against Triple H. What is your gripe?
The tag team titles. The Alba Fire and Isla Dawn not being featured as tag team champions. The fact that he stripped pretty much everything special away from them, their witch gimmick, their name, like now they're just Alba and Isla. Like, this is boring. I like the Unholy Union. Thank you, Virgo, by the way.
I told you about that already, though, weeks ago.
I know, I get it, but it just bugs me because, like, they were a legitimate tag team name with a legitimate gimmick, and it was just pretty much stripped with it. What are they now? Just 2 regular women holding tag team titles. 2 Scottish women holding tag team titles that don't get featured when they're really good. Mind you, Alba is a former longest reigning NXT UK champion. I think same with Isla in that realm, right?
They don't acknowledge NXT UK.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get that, but still, it just pisses me off that, like, when it's them, they don't get any time, but when it's like Jade and Bianca, they had all the fucking spotlight. And
Sean, let me tell you this: they forgot about NXT UK so much that I started collecting the mini championship replicas that they have. Okay, I started a collection. The mini replica championship was on sale last week for $30. Okay, $30, or no, well, 25 with tax, $30. I got it. Okay, I purchased it. I was like, this is cheap. I can add this to my collection. Why not?
right,
Cost efficient. I'm gonna get it. I looked at over the weekend if the price went down or if it stayed the same or anything. It's gone. It was the last piece of NXT UK of anything I could find on the shop. Okay, now I didn't do a deep search, but of what I can see of anything from UK. So they're pretty much saying, you know what, NXT UK, it existed at one point, but we're kind of, we're throwing it in the bag of stuff that we just don't want to think about anymore. If you won't watch anything of it, go on the network. Yes, do that, whatever. But it's kind of like they're saying, we're going to forget that we even did this because they're getting rid of everything that they had about it, and with Alba Fire, and by all means, you can't take away that accomplishment, or anybody's accomplishment from NXT UK. You can't take away those accomplishments. They're there. But they're kind of trying to erase, not erase the history, but just, you know what I mean? They're just trying to, like, not have it out there anymore. And I know I'm kind of asking a dumb question because I kind of forgot what it was. What was Alba Fire and Isla Dawn's name again?
Unholy Union.
Unholy Union. Okay. Unholy Union, Fire and Dawn. Which one rolls off the tongue a little better? And easier? Fire and Dawn, Unholy Union. I get you love the name, but I'm asking this as a legit question. I'm going somewhere with this. So which one rolls off the tongue a little easier? Fire and Dawn, Unholy Union.
I get it. It's just I just like legitimate tag
But-
team names.
But
Like,
here's the other thing, Sean, and I get it. I agree with you on that. I agree with you 100% on that. I do. But you also got to remember, if you had a tag team named Unholy Union, you also have, the Judgment Day, and you also have Karrion Kross and AOP. They're the Final Testament. Like, that is so many, like, no pun intended to Judgment Day, but that's so many, like, Judgment Day, end of the world, apocalyptic names. You know what I mean? That's so much. And if they're going to choose between keeping Final Testament and Unholy Union or the Judgment Day and Unholy Union, they're going to stick with the successful. Judgment Day is more successful than any of the other two. Next up would be Final Testament, because Final Testament is getting that slow build. Unholy Union, you can break them up at any moment and turn them into single stars, and you don't have to worry about the name. That's why.
but at least then don't strip them of their fucking whole gimmick then of them being witches.
But the thing
If
is,
you want to keep it separate, feature them prominently on SmackDown. Have them obviously do matches on Raw as well, but their segments can be predominantly SmackDown with their gimmick. That way, it's not heavily
but the
witchy
thing is,
dark shit on Raw.
the gimmick goes with the name. It's all about the presentation. And if they are not going to be called Unholy Union, then they have to take away the full-on presentation of it. That's why. You can't have them coming out with a gimmick that's going to present something that they're not even named. I'm sorry, Cam. You were ready to say something.
I was saying this about how I noticed they took the name away and then the whole witches thing. Since being drafted to Monday Night Raw, with them promoting the Wyatt Six,
There's another one.
and even if I can't really count Final Testament, I mean they kind of started out like a darkish gimmick, but to me they're kind of more like they're like the disruptors kind of gimmick, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? So they're not really dark and spooky and mysterious, not really. But anyway, so I think they are, unfortunately, they are the sacrificial lambs of them implementing and hyping up the Wyatt Six, because they're not going to have too many of the similar gimmicks on the same show. They're just not going to do that. And I can't necessarily put that. And I know there's a lot of hate right now going on with Triple H, and some stuff I think is just out of his hands. Really, I do. And so I'm not gonna put all this on Triple H necessarily, but I get what you're saying, Sean, because I originally did like the tag team, but then they just got watered down, and then they're just not really doing anything for me. They don't do it for me. They did, but they don't really do it for me. They have not been the same since they lost to Ronda and Shayna. Even if they are champions right now, they just have not been the same.
No.
So they had to get rid of the name. They had to get rid of the witches thing because they have a witch. It's Nikki Cross. Because if they were come out and be Unholy Union and have cauldrons and casting spells and all that, people would start being like, well, shouldn't they be with the Wyatt Six? It would just create confusion, and then they don't want that. They want people to stand apart. And I don't think they had a backup plan of what they could, evolve into outside the Unholy Union thing. So they just became Fire and Dawn.
And you got to look at
they can still work with that, but they're just not featured as the tag team champions as they should be. So
I'm sorry, Cam. And also you got to look at the other women that have somewhat of the same gimmick in a sense. Like, look how Rhea Ripley is. Look at Valhalla when Valhalla's there. Look at how what's her name? That's with the Final Testament. How she
Scarlett,
is.
yep.
Yeah, Scarlett. Like, look how she is. Nikki Cross, Scarlett, Rhea Ripley, Valhalla. Like, and even look at somebody like Lyra. Look how Lyra is. Like, you have so much of almost the same identical gimmicks out there that they need to kind of be separated. They are the tag team champions right now. So when you take them as tag team champions, you want to separate them from the pack. It's understandable, like, you as a fan love the name and the gimmick and all that stuff. I get it. I've been a fan of this for going on 35 years. There's a lot of stuff that I was a huge fan of that got taken away, and it stinks to say, but it's all about the progression of what they're trying to accomplish. And if they were to put them in the realm of a Scarlett, Rhea, Valhalla, and Nikki Cross, then they're just lost in the sauce, put in the shuffle. You know, they can get lost really quick because Rhea's more important than them. Nikki right now is more important than them. Scarlett being with the Final Testament. Final Testament is a little bigger than them. Scarlett's involved, so that would kind of put Scarlett in front of them. The only one not in front of them is Valhalla. Why? Because one, she's not there. Two, the Viking Raiders, they're dealing with an injury in half their tag team, and we haven't seen her on TV. Plus, we obviously know about the personal stuff too, you know, but she's not there. That's the only one that they could be standing in front of. So to separate them from that pack, to give them their own identity, Fire and Dawn, and take away the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have a huge love for Gimmick, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's all about what they need to do to progress. Speaking of progress, we're going to move forward. Last thing to talk about, Monday Night Raw. Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne were supposed to have a match. We've seen Sheamus get involved. Sheamus and Pete Dunne, I think, are heating up. I think we're going to get a great match from them. It needs to happen at SummerSlam. Do you guys think it needs to happen at SummerSlam? And do you think Bronson Reed needs to be involved, seeing that he was involved in tonight? Sean, we'll start with you.
I don't think Bronson Reed needs to be involved, and I think if the match happens at SummerSlam, it'll be a pre-show match. Honestly, because, I mean, if it's not a pre-show match, it'll be the very opener. I don't see it having that much steam. And my only question is, what happens when Tyler Bate returns? That's my only question.
I have a thought, Cam. I want to get your thought first before I give my thought on this. But what's your thought on this?
I think we're getting the return of, basically the classic Bruiserweight. I talked about it before, he was originally a heel. Bruiserweight was a heel. He was not a very nice guy. So I think that's what it is. I think he's breaking away from Sheamus and kind of erasing or trying to erase the whole Brawling Brutes former tag team he was within in Sheamus. I do agree with you. I do think this match needs to be made for SummerSlam. Before tonight, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I think SummerSlam's match card was kind of but there was a lot of big names missing, and it's definitely something that they fixed. So I definitely think this should be a match made for SummerSlam. I don't see why not. I think it'd be a great match. So, but yeah, no, I definitely think that Pete Dunne is going to stick with maybe he sticks with being solo. I don't know. I could see Tyler Bate, because I honestly asked myself the same question too, Sean. What happens when Tyler Bate comes back? I think there will be somewhat of an issue with Tyler Bate. I think we're going to be in store for another slow burn kind of storyline with those two being former partners. I guess still current partners. They didn't really break up. It just got Tyler Bate just got injured, and then I honestly think Tyler Bate turns heel for the first time, because I don't think he's ever been heel his entirety being with WWE. So we could be seeing a heel tag team with him too.
I believe Tyler Bate was a heel for a little bit in NXT. When he came over from NXT UK, I believe he was a heel down in NXT. He was never one on the main roster, but I think I could be wrong on that, but I think he was one in NXT. But I could see Tyler Bate being a heel. But this takes us back to the NXT UK days, just like Cam said, Pete Dunne was a huge heel. He was the NXT UK champion, one of the longest reigning NXT UK champions. Him and Tyler Bate had a great match to determine who the champion was back in that day. And honestly, if they were not to turn Tyler Bate heel, I could see them having a Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate feud on the main roster on Raw and bring that match. And with them having the progression of who they are, because if you go back and watch their NXT UK stuff, people really didn't know who they were. Now people know who they are. Now you can take this storyline and you can amp it up. They would just have to do it the right way. They would. So, but I also wouldn't be opposed to seeing Tyler Bate turn heel, be with Pete Dunne, and they continue being a tag team and being a heel tag team. So, not against that either. But yep, for SummerSlam, gentlemen, we got Damian Priest, Gunther for the world title, Bayley and Nia Jax for the women's championship, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley for the women's world title, Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa for the WWE championship, Logan Paul, LA Knight for the United States title, Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker for the IC title, and CM Punk, Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. That is the SummerSlam card. Right now, we got 10 days until SummerSlam. So we'll have to see what happens moving forward. We got one more Raw. We got 2 more SmackDowns until SummerSlam. But that closes out our Raw Talk for July 22nd, 2024 in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And excited to see what happens come next week on Monday Night Raw. So, gentlemen, as you know, I always pull some new stuff out of the bank of the interworld. And this was a hard thing to do this week. There was not a lot of news. Not a lot. I found some stuff that we can kind of discuss here for the last 10 minutes. But, the first one, it's simple. Free agents. The word is going around that MVP and Bobby Lashley are leaving WWE. Kind of odd news to hear because we've seen the past successes of Bobby Lashley. I honestly, my personal opinion, would have loved to see Bobby Lashley get one more WWE championship run. I honestly think he could have had a great feud once Cody Rhodes won the championship, or even go over to Raw and go after the world title. But that obviously isn't happening. MVP and Bobby Lashley are supposedly leaving WWE. So if this is the case, the question always comes out, where would you like to see them go? And if you have a match in mind, what match would you have in mind? Cam, we'll start with you.
Well, first off, I kind of think a lot of us are jumping the gun here. I personally believe that that Bobby Lashley ends up re-signing last minute. Honestly, at least that's my hope, because I would love to see a match between him and Carmelo Hayes. They kind of teased it before he got hurt and went away. So I would love that. Honestly, I would. And so yeah, that's my number one thing I would love to see Bobby Lashley do for sure. So yeah, I don't really see him go anywhere. Personally, I don't. I'd be shocked if he does leave. If he does leave, I could see him. It would honestly be insane the way things in TNA right now. That'd be crazy to see him go back to TNA, because he had one hell of a run in TNA back in the day. So that'd be crazy to see him go back to TNA.
Former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, former Global Champion, I believe. That it would be crazy to see him in TNA. Sean, if you had a thought on where they go if they were to leave WWE, where to, and if you have a match in mind?
I mean, MVP pretty much is alluding to wanting, and I think is alluding to them going to AEW to have a form of Hurt Business in AEW, with him, Shelton, Bobby, maybe add somebody else. I honestly think, to be honest, and this is not really any bias or anything, but I think they should take Omos with them, because Omos isn't really doing much, isn't really even there. So for me, Bobby to have a match in AEW, my first thought would be someone like a Swerve Strickland,
Be a good match.
or run it back with Brian Cage.
Not a bad match either. Definitely
Because
not. A bad match.
Bobby can have a good match with anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, he could. I mean, obviously, with his opponent, he would probably have to take the lead on some matches.
Bobby versus
Experience people like a Swerve Strickland or a Brian Cage, he wouldn't have to. But if you have, superstars who are kind of young and really haven't had too many opportunity to be the so-called leader of a match, but still has that in-ring ability.
like
yeah.
Bobby, his style with him being a balanced kind of wrestler. He has the speed, he has the technical, he has the power. Him versus Ospreay, or him versus an Okada, I would like to see that.
You're giving us like 6 matches.
I know.
The realm is huge, Sean.
Yeah.
I asked for 1. That's
I'm sorry, but I got these 3 matches in my head now.
Yes, we all have dream matches. That's why I said just pick 1. Guys, I would say TNA, and I'm going right for him versus Moose. Bottom line.
I thought of that too. Yeah.
Him versus Moose on day 1 would take my freaking money. Bottom line, him versus Moose. And that can turn, and Sean, you brought up the thing of being a Hurt Business type deal. It can be foes turn friends, and we get MVP, we get Bobby Lashley. And I know Moose is in a group right now, but have Moose break away from them, go with Bobby Lashley. You start a Hurt Business with them. Shelton Benjamin could come in. Why not? Cedric Alexander could come in. Bam. But him and Moose would be my match.
Or merge them with First Class. Francis and Swan.
Nah, I'll pass on that one.
No, I'm not with it. Second one, guys, roles reversed. Now, about 6 months ago, Tamina did an interview, and she mentioned that her in-ring career is kind of done. The women in WWE today and the women's division is in pretty good hands with everybody that's involved. And to reach tone, it kind of is. Bayley, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, everybody who's in the women's division, WWE, it's in pretty good hands. But her contract is not up. Now, there is a possibility that, seeing that she is family with The Rock, and we know The Rock's position, that she could still be working for WWE if decided to resign. And right now, the idea is for her to be a trainer, a coach, somebody to bring on the new generation. So, Sean, we'll start with you. Do you have any thoughts on this? Any opinions on Tamina becoming a coach in WWE? Do you think she will help bring along that new talent that's coming up in?
I think she should be a trainer. Yeah, her in-ring career is pretty much done. Trainer in NXT will be great. I honestly think like her and Natalya and NXT as trainers would be great if they want to stick with WWE. So,
I mean, I don't think Natalya is very much done yet. I think they still have something for Natalya to do. It's just all about trying to find that one thing to do. I'm not a big fan of Natalya, but do I still think she has enough left in the tank to where maybe she can have one more, women's championship run? Maybe if they were to create a secondary women's title, could she be the catalyst to start that off? Maybe. It just all depends on what type of title it is. If it's a women's intercontinental championship, if it's a women's television championship. But I think Natalya more so has a little bit left, maybe a year or two. But Tamina, I highly agree that she can bring up the new talent. Cam, your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely could see Tamina as a coach. Um, a while back, I think she served a pivotal role when, the women's division wasn't necessarily in the best of places, and so I definitely think she's somebody who can look back on that and look at today and say that, the women's division is in a better place than what it was. I definitely wouldn't mind her being a coach down in NXT. You've got so many women, so many names on that roster. Who some who have never even seen in-ring action yet, and I think that she could definitely go down there and sort of coach them into how the WWE ways. Because some of them are, a lot of them are they're coming off of these NIL contracts or these they're these athletes that have never, like I said, they don't really know much about pro wrestling. And so, like I said, that is their brains are like sponges right now. So they're just waiting for a good coach, a good trainer to really teach them, the WWE ways. So I think she'd be perfect for that role. Her and Natalia, for that matter. So yeah.
Okay. Last one, Glorified. Now, I freaking spelled it wrong. Leave it to me to mess something up. Guys, the funny thing is on Sunday, and this happened with me and John on the Red Zone, is on Sundays I have a few screens that I try to have prepared for when we do the show. For this show, I try and have everything prepared and spelled right and everything, and obviously I'm spelling things wrong today, but Glorified. Yeah. Here's the thing is on Red Zone, I have 3 screens that I always have up. Obviously, our show screen. I have every team's cap space for 2024, 2025, and 2026. And I have the free agent list up. Okay, because right now we're doing our spotlight, our spotlight specials on positions. Come catch us every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. right here on Rivet City Radio's Twitch Off the Top Media's YouTube channel. But I always have those screens up. And this Sunday, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the cap space up. So leave it to me to mess up 2 times in 24 hours. But Glorified, guys. Dustin Rhodes went on to say in an interview that he's kind of tired of fans using the word jobber. Now, as we know, some matches we have where a premier talent takes on a local talent, and the local talent is normally called a jobber. Now, Dustin Rhodes is kind of sick of hearing the fans say this word. So if you had another word to call a opponent of a local promotion that comes in and helps, boost up a star, what word would you use, Cam?
I mean, the only other word I could think of is enhancement talent, I guess. He's just there as, the punching bag, essentially, to just make the star, the signed talent, look good. So, yeah.
I could agree with that. Enhancement. And that's what I always call him. I honestly, and I'll be honest, and I'm not just saying this, I never really liked the word jobber. I always said enhancement because that's what they're there to do, like you said. That's what they're there to do is help that star enhance. So it's a great word. Sean, what word would you use?
I mean, in the sake of being different, because I would call him enhancer talent, I don't know, builder. Like,
Not a bad one.
A builder, I don't want to call him like a star maker because that's kind of like giving him like maybe a boost up. But I'll just say a builder.
Not really. I mean, star builder really not a bad thing to say either, because that's what they're there to do. Oh my God, I can't talk tonight. That's what they are there to initially help do is build a star.
Builder or booster, one of the two. Yeah.
I was thinking booster too.
Yeah. Not bad. Yeah, some good ones. So, I mean, I can kind of agree with Dustin on this. Again, I wasn't really big on using the word jobber. I never was. I'm being honest about that. Even in my early days of being a pro wrestling fan, and seeing you watch the early days of Monday Night Raw back in 93, 94, 95, and you've seen the local talents come in and help, guys like The Undertaker, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, all those. Never really liked calling them jobbers. Because if you look at it, some of them become stars. Look at Jeff Hardy. Look at Matt Hardy. Go watch their early days on Raw in 95, 96 when they were in the ring with somebody like a Shawn Michaels. Now they're stars. They're Hall of Famers, So hats off to you, Dustin. I'm with you. So last segment of the day, guys, as we know, on this day, July 22nd. Let's go back to 2002 on WWE Raw in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Raw general manager, Eric Bischoff, introduced Triple H to the Red Brand and named Shawn Michaels as Triple H's manager. Later on in the show, an impromptu DX reunion was short-lived when Triple H turned heel on Shawn Michaels and attacked him with a pedigree. Also on that night, Rob Van Dam unified the European Intercontinental Championship with a victory over Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. And as a result of the unification, the European Championship was officially retired. Also, Brock Lesnar defeated ECW legend Tommy Dreamer in the main event. The new undisputed WWE champion, The Rock, defeated Eddie Guerrero in a non-title match. Now, with that DX reunion, that obviously led to us having the big SummerSlam match between Shawn Michaels and Triple H, the bloody street fight that they had. So that was on this day, on July 22nd, 2002. Gentlemen, as we get ready to close out the show, before we do so, remind everybody one more time to head over to Rivet City Radio and Off the Top Media's Twitch and YouTube channels. Hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications on. Check out all the great content going on throughout the network. Tomorrow night, right after NXT, is NXT on Tap. On Wednesday night, The Boom, hosted by Cam, with myself and Phil on there as the co-host as we talk about everything AEW after AEW Dynamite happens. Blood and Guts on Wednesday, Cam. That's going to be a fun one to talk about. We got Boss Bitch Trivia on Thursdays. We got Friday Night Review on Fridays after SmackDown. Rivet City Red Zone on Sundays. Botch Chair Shots on Sunday night to close out the week. So make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. Check out everything going on. Also, patreon.com/Rivet City Radio. It won't break your bank. There's some great content. And there's also ways to contact all the hosts on Rivet City Radio Off the Top Media by joining the Discord through the Patreon. So make sure to join patreon.com/Rivet City Radio and also check out all the content on there. Promise it won't break your bank. Gentlemen, as we get out of here, Sean, your socials are on the bottom. Make sure to check out Sean's socials. Hit the follow and subscribe button. Turn the notifications on. Check out everything that he is doing. Is there anything you'd like to let the people know, though, Sean? What do you want to let the people know?
Now that I'm not dying after my trip from Canada from illness, I know. I'm just
stop being a drama queen. Stop it.
I'm a Leo. I was born a drama queen. All right. Pay-per-view for Rebellion Wrestling. We're back this Thursday. Pay-per-view time. That's where we left off. Huh?
Do we have to pay for it?
No, I'm just saying our pay-per-view for Rebellion Wrestling is happening Thursday. You don't have to pay for it.
So why not call it an SLE, a special live event?
I don't like that PLE crap.
But it's an SLE, not a PLE. It's an SLE, special live event. I just helped you. This is why you need to hire me as your writer, because I'll take 25 cents a show. I'm cool with that. I'll take a hot dog and a handshake. I'm cool with that too. Like, come on. Continue. I'm sorry.
I'm old school. I like the trope of pay-per-view. Just
not fucking paying.
You're not paying for it. I'm just saying it's the old wrestling trope of being a pay-per-view. Okay? Once I hit affiliate, you can subscribe.
I'm not paying for it.
But no, yeah, I'm back. Rebellion Wrestling Thursday, our pay-per-view show. It's gonna be fun. You can catch me on these beautiful social media sites.
Okay, sounds good. Make sure to follow, subscribe, check out Sean's special live event for his for the Rebellion Wrestling, because you're not paying for it. Cam, your socials are on the bottom. Make sure to check out all Cam's socials. Follow, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Check out everything Cam's doing, especially Cam's Wrestling Corner. Great videos, amazing videos. I cannot say enough about it. Cam, what else do you want to let the people know?
Well, you can find me right here with these two gentlemen every single Monday night with the Table Spot after Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, on Wednesday night, we got a big boom coming up this Wednesday night. We got Blood and Guts. Can't wait for that. That's going to be a big show. Can't wait. We are finally there. We have finally reached Blood and Guts. We've been waiting for it for months now. So, yeah, can't wait for that. So check us out there with me, of course, Metalcore Mike, and the one and only Phil Khan. And then check me out on our sister page on Off the Top Media every single Friday night or Friday or after Friday Night SmackDown with the Friday Night Review with me and Scouts.
Make sure you're checking out what Cam's doing, everything he's doing on the socials, everything he's doing on the network. Promise you will not be disappointed. I'm so ready for Blood and Guts, man. Like, I am excited for Wednesday.
Yeah,
I cannot wait. I am hype. I am so hype.
It's gonna be so good.
Like, I mean, just think of it. We got Blood and Guts, and then we got All In less than a month. Like,
Yes.
dude, oh my god.
We got Blood and Guts. Then we still got
Oh,
TNA on Thursday. Then we got SmackDown. Then next Saturday we got SummerSlam. So we got so much good stuff coming up in the next couple weeks. So
I'm so excited. That's why you guys need to follow and subscribe to the networks, because we got some great content coming along, like jam-packed content. So be ready, people. My socials are on the bottom. Metal Mike 714, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, Linktree, Metal Mike 714. Also, you can catch me here every Monday night with these two gentlemen here on the Table Spot right after Monday Night Raw at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'd catch me on the Boom with Phil and Cam every Wednesday after AEW Dynamite at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you catch me every Sunday morning on Rivet City Red Zone with the Candyman himself, Johnny H. Again, we've been doing our spotlights. This week coming up is the offensive line. We are going to be running down every team's offensive line and talking about the free agents for 2025, as we've been doing with all the spotlights for every position we've done already. Our past shows, we did the quarterbacks, we did the running backs. This past week, we did wide receivers and tight ends. We are finishing off the offense with the offensive line this week. Definitely a do not miss show. So please come check us out at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday morning. Other than that, gentlemen, do you have anything else?
This happy 1 year anniversary, boys.
yeah, happy 1 year anniversary. And like I said, got a lot of wrestling coming up. So
yeah,
what a time to be a wrestling fan right now.
With that being said, again, the 1 year anniversary show is in the books of the Table Spot, and we got so much more to come. We appreciate everybody who checked us out in the live. If you did not check us out in the live, we appreciate you for checking us out in the replay. As I always say, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. The world is not moving as fast as you think. Until next Monday, that is it for the Table Spot. We'll see y'all next week. Deuces.